I thank the member. I call the member for Richmond. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. And I too rise to speak on the motion by the member for Warringah and note her and everyone's commitment to ending violence against women and children. I know that all the members in this House agree that family and domestic and sexual violence destroys lives, and any life lost to gender-based violence is one too many, and we know the impact of this violence extends throughout communities. It is a national crisis, and indeed it has been for some time, and it must end. And the safety of women and children experiencing violence is a priority for the Albanese Labor government, and it has been since day one. Indeed, all Australian governments are united in our shared goal to end family, domestic and sexual violence in a generation. We're all committed to our work under the National Plan to end violence against women and children, which has been bolstered by our more than a $3.4 billion investment so far. And, Deputy Speaker, we must acknowledge in this debate also that Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander women are disproportionately impacted by domestic, family and sexual violence, and it is important that we all acknowledge that. And, Deputy Speaker, Tuesday night's budget, as we heard, will deliver $925.2 million over 5 years to provide financial support and support services for victim survivors leaving a violent intimate partner relationship by permanently establishing the Leaving Violence program. Victim survivors will now have the certainty of knowing that a safety net will be there if they need it, where they can access up to $5,000 in financial support, as well as safety planning, risk assessments and referrals to support pathways. The budget also includes a new decision to direct $1 billion of funding towards crisis and transitional accommodation for women and children fleeing domestic violence. This decision will supplement the more than $9 billion 5-year national agreement on social housing and homelessness. And we are also investing heavily in improving information sharing and policing through the National Criminal Intelligence System, building evidence base on the perpetration of family, domestic and sexual violence, and injecting urgent funding into the legal assistance sector, and in terms of women's economic equality by paying superannuation on government-funded paid parental leave. And this is all on top of the very significant work that our government has led over the past 2 years, including reforms to family law, justice responses to sexual violence and national principles to address coercive control, and our appointment of the first ever Domestic, Sexual and Family Violence Commissioner, Michaela Cronin, who is ensuring that those voices of those lived experience victim survivors is at the heart of advice to government. And of course, Deputy Speaker, I'm very proud one of the first bills we passed in this parliament legislated 10 days of paid family and domestic violence leave for all employees. Across previous budgets, we've boosted funding to frontline services, which include delivered funding to the states and territories for frontline workers and restoring funding for services which were running out. And we continue to deliver more safe places for women and children experiencing family, domestic and sexual violence, which will assist more than 2,800 women and children each year, with an additional 720 new places available under the next round. And we're putting the focus on perpetrators by developing a national risk assessment framework, as well as trialling new perpetrator interventions. And these are just some of the many actions our government has taken. Now, Deputy Speaker, we all know there is more to do. We all acknowledge that. All of us, as governments at all levels, need to do more, and also the community as well. Governments, community, business need to work together to end violence against women and children. We must all continue to make that commitment. And we have demonstrated our commitment as a government over these last 2 years, which sees our record investment in women's safety grow to $3.4 billion. We take this very seriously. And, Deputy Speaker, in late April, we saw thousands march at rallies against gender-based violence, thousands across the country. I attended the rally on the Gold Coast and spoke about the government's actions. I outlined our record funding and our commitment to ending violence against women and children in a generation. And I also spoke about my time as a former frontline police officer, in which I attended literally hundreds of situations involving domestic violence. I have stood in the lounge rooms and the kitchens and seen firsthand the destruction this causes for women and children. And, Deputy Speaker, for anyone listening today or watching, if you need help, call 000 if it's life-threatening, or please call 1-800-RESPECT and 1-800-737-732 for support. Deputy Speaker, the fact is one life lost is too many, and the deaths of women at the hands of men has to end.
I thank the Assistant Minister and Member for Richmond. The question is that the motion